Welcome to Elite 6 Business Networking Think Tank, facilitated by your host Danny DeHeck, the place where decision makers come together to share their experience, knowledge and skills. We have a riveting topic that we're going to discuss with these lovely people in the Zoom room today called Learnings About 2020, and we're not going to mention anything about technology to David Clarkson. All right, so we're going to get straight into it. We have a mind map on the screen. You would like to... Who just did that?
It'll be Shaun.
Shaun?
Hey.
You behave yourself in there. We'll have to make you mute. Okay, I'm going to share our mind map. Hopefully it's going to work this week. We had a problem with technology last week. Now you're doing that. Now you bring your keyboard over now. It might not work.
Did you mention the word technology, Danny?
Oh,
Yeah,
yes,
you
all right.
did.
All right. Go take words. Can we see a big screen on the table?
No.
Yeah. Shh. Yeah. Hold it. I've got to do something here. We'll just get this going. Starting this. Start. All right. I need to see what you guys are seeing. And just for the people who are new here, we actually are broadcasting this on our closed Facebook group, but it's not going public. But that means you can refer back to it later on if you like. I'm going to just get my screens in order. Right, so suppose what's people's experience been in 2021 running their business would probably be a nice way to start that off as a general question.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, 1 minute, please.
First year so far.
Really?
I only went full-time in September, so I was late to the party.
Right. And did you make a transition between full-time? How did you make that leap?
Well, I pretty much got made redundant from my previous job.
Right.
That
was
was
enough. I would like to know other people that got made redundant in the window who now work for themselves. Anyone else?
Yep.
Yep. I think Mark was as well, weren't you?
I had already positioned myself from last year to be sole trader by March. So 3 weeks before the lockdown, I was sole trader.
Right. All right. And also Paul was as well. Interesting enough. All right. Next question I want to know is who has had to change their business around considerably this year?
Well, I've had to change mine to take in sort of teaching in locations other than where I'm actually physically reside. So I've just finished a course just recently that I presented in Christchurch, but also had people coming in on Microsoft Teams to be part of the training sessions for a 7-week training session.
Right. And you did struggle with that a bit, didn't you? Because you obviously teach people to speak with their bodies, and when you're doing things on Zoom, you're just lucky they weren't wearing face masks.
Yeah, that's dead right. But got over that, and in actual fact, I was at a meeting this morning before this meeting, and got a tip on how to improve the presentations as well. So I'll pick that up for next time.
Oh, good. And that's what is really good about our business networking is people share stuff. And I think that's quite important. All right. I did have another question. Anyone else got a question? Experience. What's been your experience that you've learned? I've learned that sitting on the sofa working actually makes all the muscles in your lower back get relaxed, that your back goes out. So I've had
does it come back into the game though, Danny?
No, it's actually my back is stuffed. For the last 3 months, I've had to literally go to a chiropractor every week, and also I've hired a personal trainer, and I can't actually sit for more than 45 minutes without being an old man when I stand up. But that was simply because I sat down for far too long in front of the computer and thought, well, while we're under lockdown, I'll just work like a hero. And now I literally have to have some form of physical exercise every week in my life.
So Why isn't the chiropractor a member now of Elite Six? You've had so much
Yeah.
personal one-on-one.
Could be, yeah.
Funny story. He gave me a book. My biggest fear is reading books. And I thought, oh my goodness, he wants me to read a book. And then the next week he brought the book out again. I said, look, mate, I don't read books. So I thought he was going to sell it to me. And he said, no. I said, because I'm dyslexic. And he said, I'm dyslexic as well. And the reason I like this book, it's got lots of diagrams and pictures and you can just look at those. So I had to laugh at that. Yeah. But no, it's quite good.
We ended up, I bought a new desk, a monitor, and a seat to work from home. So I invested in that because we were doing co-working. And then what did you buy? You already had your monitor and your desk, didn't you?
Yeah, I bought a chair, which was, and it's a very good chair as well. But you can adjust it 3 ways. So the bit that you sit on can actually slide in and out. And then I don't know if you guys have ever been fitted on your chair before, but Clinton Selby, who owns Ergonomics, he's done a demo on how to actually adjust your chair. And he likened it to when you jump in your car. You don't just jump in the car and drive. So you need to have it set up properly. Interesting enough, the chiropractor was telling me that a lot of people sit on the front of the chair and slouch. And he went to a seminar, and the guy in the seminar actually said that's not necessarily bad, because when you're doing that, you're using different muscles than you normally would. Hence why, I said, just don't do it for long periods of time. And the trick of the secret is actually making sure you're moving around while you're working rather than staying in the same position for 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah, and Danny, you've got a lot of experiences written down in the chat room too, mate.
Oh cool. Yeah, that's the other thing. That's what I was going to say earlier on. I forgot. Yeah. If you've got things to say, chuck them in the chat.
We're ahead of the game, mate.
Yeah, 5. Yes.
Yeah. Oh wow, this is exciting. This is.
Mark's been a prolific writer.
We can see your camera. Thanks, Raymond. Mark's down. Right, here we go. So you got two of us there, and if you can put them in brackets for E for experiences, P for problems, that helps me a little bit. But we are talking about experiences at the moment. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what else have you experienced? Come on, guys. Who cares? Tell us how it is. Are you freaking out?
So I've got another one there with we've got that. Yeah, good.
Yes, I experienced that everybody decided to go online, and now everybody's aiming to get offline really fast.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too, Rob.
I think it's gone back and forth, Rob, because people really embraced going online and thought, wow, this is really cool. And then they were going, no, I don't want to be online. I'm sick of this. And then as we had another, did we have another lockdown? I can't remember. But anyway, the second sort of time, everybody was like, oh, I think I will go back to Zoom. And it's sort of gone on and off. And now people use both.
Actually, this is good. Have our businesses now accommodated the new technology? Is that what we're talking about?
We're talking about a hybrid solution.
Oh, there he goes. Hello, Lachlan.
Here. Hello.
I forgot to introduce everyone. Does everyone not know anyone here? Like, we've got Anna, who's relatively new. She's trying to work and do a Zoom meeting, I can tell. We're used to that. Does everyone know Anna?
Good morning.
No, I don't know Anna.
All right. So Anna's new to Elite Six. It's the second Zoom meeting. She's been to 4 meetings. She's like a professional now. So welcome along. What do you do, Anna? Come on, tell me what you do.
I do digital marketing and websites.
Yeah. Understands Google and Google AdWord campaigns.
Yes.
Anyone else you don't know what they do here, Anna? We'll pick on them and ask them what they do. David cleans earwax.
Yep. Got to do that.
Shaun, you probably won't know what Shaun does. Commercial cleaner, entrepreneur.
He kills things.
Dad.
Exterminates.
Kill things. Kill bugs. Kill the pests. Doing moisture inspections. Doing water restoration, flood control, and now doing the healthy home checks.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right. We had one done the other day. Yeah.
We've had 2. They actually give you 2. Our property manager said you'll get 2, and they are from different companies. So I guess they compare notes and just make sure it's all kosher.
Wow, look at that. Which property management again?
We are with Selwyn Property Management.
Good.
You knew one of the guys that come and did our inspection, didn't he?
Yeah, I thought he did, actually.
He's in the Chinese community. I told him about you and he knew you, but I've forgotten his
Yeah.
name, unfortunately.
No, I've forgotten his name. Yeah.
Okay, let's get back on topic then. That's nice. We know everyone. Everyone's happy. Good. Wake up, Paul.
I'm awake. Don't worry.
Okay. All right. Got you. We see you. All right. So,
Can we put another experience?
Yep, we're going to do another experience.
Yeah. So my business, my online business, went crazy over lockdown, and I couldn't keep up. And then it sort of went down again. So, yeah, I experienced a huge growth, but it has gone back down.
And that is actually, I'll tell you, something that's happened to us. Because we've had growth, we've had a really good financial year. And now we've died back off again, I just talked to my accountant yesterday, and now they want us to pay provisional tax.
Yeah.
If, and that's all good and worry, and you think, oh, great. And, it's more than our tax bill. So he's going to do another set of accounts closer to that period and see whether we've gone broke again, and then see whether we need to pay that money. But it is quite alarming when that happens, if you have success and fast growth.
I think the reason that provisional tax.
Once again?
It's very hard for people. You have a big spike and you do really well, but it might be just for give and take. You might work on a project, then it drops off. Then you get the provisional tax because they think, oh, you're doing well, let's crank that up. And then you get your normal tax, so you get a double hit. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what my accountant said to me. I'm going to have double tax next year.
The worst part, that's right. As you go into year 3 of your business, you end up paying both provisional and terminal tax.
That's what
I tried last year, and it's a double whammy.
Yeah.
That's right.
So if you're making a whole pile of money, the secret is to keep your mouth shut. Yeah, but it is that. I always say to new people in business, and I say, how long have you been in business? And if they say over 2 years, okay, I go, congratulations, you've made it past the hump.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then if you have a loss, that's brilliant. 3rd year loss, you get money back.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't think that's the best business plan, though, Danny. Going
Yeah, I remember when I was married, 2 days before we went to saw the accountant, we walked past and finished up buying a $50,000 convertible Volkswagen. And then 2 days later in the accountant's office, and they said, oh, your provisional bill this year is $63,000 and it needs to be paid. I'm like, oh. So we gave them $20,000, and then we freaked about it for the whole year. And then we finished up getting a rebate of $200. It was just, the way it was at the time. So it was like, yes, but not knowing that, it's made us stressful all year long, probably made us have a bit more money.
But it also shows that you need to have a close working relationship with your accountant.
Oh, you sure do.
So my accountant bill the year after that was $14,000 because that's what they said to me, and I agreed to it. And then they did a set of accounts just about every 6 weeks, and then they charged me like friggin' heaps for it. So you got to watch that side of it as well. Now I've got a new accountant. All right. So anyone else got any experiences? That's my experiences once again. What have you learned this year?
Is that the subject, is it? Sorry.
What did you want to learn this year? Might be a good one.
Good question.
Oh, is there any more in the chat window?
No, I think that's it.
That's it. All right. What's the problems for this year? Let's have a bit.
If we go back to an experience, I think you need to be agile, which means if anything changes in the environment, right, that you're positioned to move.
That might be a solution there, Rob. So let's put that in solution, eh?
Be agile.
Well, that's a very good point, Danny.
Yeah, we've got 4 parts to the meeting there, Rob. You come up with this for me.
What did you say, Rob?
I know.
Be agile and what?
Flexible, was it?
Yeah, like you got to be positioned to move. Like if your environment changes.
To move. Yep, got you.
I 100% think that's what I've been doing the whole year is making sure that I can move quickly.
Yeah.
And anything that takes 3 months to move is like having a oil tanker in the ocean. It takes 7 kilometers for an oil tanker to stop. So why would you be in an oil tanker? You want to get one of those wee zippy jet skis and zip all around the river. I've had that example before.
So back to experiences, though. I mean, it was quite interesting in recruitment because what happened was you sort of got hit by a triple whammy because, first of all the work you're currently working on suddenly stopped. People just sort of stopped. We don't know what's going on because I was working for projects where people were required to go overseas, renewable energy projects out in the Pacific Islands. So suddenly that stopped. So that's the first thing that happened. The next thing that happened was that almost, I suppose, out of people were trying to be nice to you and say, oh, we're still looking for that. We're still looking for that. But it was easy for them to say because I don't get paid until I deliver it. So it's almost like saying, yeah, I want that. I want a roast meal. I want lobster thermidor. But if you don't have to pay it until you actually eat it, anyone can say it. So you found you're working on stuff, and actually really people hadn't thought about it if it was really needed. And the third thing I had was a lot of people whose jobs had completely fallen over, running around looking to get in on your clients. So I suddenly had a client say, oh, we've had another 5 recruiters calling today. And they were just my client. So that became a really quite tough.
Good stuff, man. I can see that. Yeah. And they're probably not trying to commit to change when they're saying we're still planning to stay on target.
They're trying to be nice sometimes. And it really, I'd rather they say, you know what, hold. I had one client who just said, oh, no, we're still looking. And when, I did a long process, went through over 200 people, came to the end, got the short list, sent it through. They didn't even look at them. And I spent 200 hours working on that.
Good stuff. That's good. We're going to go to problems because I want to have a bit session. We can do a bit of moaning about this year.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Moaning. First of all, Elite Six is my whole business was built on face-to-face business networking. Hey, stop giving the fingers. People can see this. This is a Christian show.
Right. Okay. So I'm going to have to make one point.
If you want to do that, you go get your own window.
I'm about to be struck by lightning.
Yeah, that's good. So my business was built on face-to-face networking. So obviously that just killed us. 120 members this time last year. Boom, 35 now.
Right.
And so then you think, well, let's redesign it. Let's build it ground up. Ways of networking. Everyone keeps telling me, I like face to face. I like face to face, and I go, so do I. But I can't do it. So
no. Hold fire.
No, don't need a ramble from you just yet.
No. That was a choice you made, and a lot of other people made choices on what they saw, and so they went into lockdown.
Yeah,
and they either weren't able to operate how they were operating, or they chose to change how they operated. And I think that a lot of the businesses that stayed true to this same model are successful and have done really, really well.
Same model as what? Before?
They're still doing what they were doing. Not much has really changed. Like a lot of people are saying that with the advent of the lockdown, that everything has changed, right? But what has actually changed? Because the same businesses that were successful pre-lockdown are still the same ones successful post-lockdown.
My accountant yesterday told me that he's got some in the hospitality sectors that are doing really well. And that was nice to hear, actually. So maybe that case, I could see some of that. But we're talking about problems here, man. I'm not talking about happy stories. I want sadism.
I've found small businesses that have struggled have reduced their spending, and they're my typical customers. So that's impacted us.
Now, that's an interesting one. I've noticed that when you don't spend, you don't get the big Visa bill at the end of the month to pay as well. So obviously you're not doing the same turnover, but you don't have the same running costs. So that's one of them. I feel sorry for people who obviously lease business premises. That didn't change. But you could negotiate that to a certain degree as well, couldn't you?
Interestingly
for the first month we could, yeah.
Interestingly enough, on the news last night, they said that spending has absolutely skyrocketed this November compared to the November before. So it's actually going back up again.
That freaks me out.
Is that individual spending up for Christmas?
It is, yeah.
Fantastic.
If they can get anything.
But the year to the end of November, apparently, this is through bank card activity, was 3% up on last year.
Right, yeah.
There is another
thing. It'd be interesting to know who's actually doing the spending as well, though. Like if you have a look at, like because interest rates are down, right, it's incredibly easy, like to get extra money, right, and spend that extra money, right? But who's spending it?
Yeah, technology might have a bit to go with that. I've been looking after my mate's Garmin watch, and two girls come in and they were going to buy their mum an $800 watch. They finished up buying themselves an $800 bike computer and forgetting about mum. I noticed that people online are actually using Afterpay, and they're doing that spread it over 4 months thing.
Yeah.
So people maybe actually think I can't afford what I used to, but if I spread over 4 months, so maybe they're prolonging the agony.
So is Afterpay like a lay-by thing?
Yeah, that was
The
like
old
You
lady.
pay for complete rip-off
payments.
Oh,
Who was that?
one at a time.
You pay by 4 payments, basically, spread out.
Yeah.
But what they're finding is a lot of people are taking that option up, paying the first couple of payments, and then having issues and not paying. So it's just another form of credit card, really.
Yeah. Do they? What sort of interest do they whack on it?
They don't charge it. Well, I don't know what the interest rate is if you default, but when we looked into doing it, it was about 10%. So I haven't done it because some of my product does need about 10% margin built into it.
Yeah. So do they, is there no interest if you pay those 4 payments?
If you pay on time, you don't pay any extras.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
At the moment in Australia, businesses are trying to get it so that they can pass those costs on to the customers. Because it's a bit like Uber Eats and the like. If businesses don't offer it, then the customers don't come to them.
Good stuff. Yeah, it's interesting. I think it's only about, well, I'm pretty sure it's 4.5% or 5% actually, because they pay for it.
It is high our end.
All right. Other
really
problems you've
high
had
online.
this year. What's affected your business, guys? What did you freak out about and think, oh my goodness?
Not doing contracts.
Say that again?
Not doing contracts.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Not
Doing business on a
doing
handshake, you mean?
contracts.
Yeah.
That's never going to happen again, though, is it?
Oh, definitely not.
You only do that
I'm
once.
writing one now.
Yeah. And that's so important. I mean, we had a lawyer in our group. He's still in our group. Actually, he's not a lawyer now. He's an employment advocate. And he said a contract can be a tissue paper at a cafe, and you can write down an agreement, and you can both sign it, put it in your drawer, and if it goes wrong, you can actually pull that out in a small claims environment. So, that doesn't have to be a big elaborate thing. And I don't like the word contract myself. I've always had an agreement.
Agreement's a good word. Yeah.
Because a contract seems to always come like this, but agreement is like, it's two-way, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they can be quite different things. You can have an agreement of have a generally good, what do you call it? Not a memorandum of articles.
Memorandum of understanding.
Memorandum of understanding, that's right. And that's this general thing, that's we agree with, that's what we're going to do. But contracts is a contract, and yet sometimes you need that, because what happens is the person you might be talking, I might be talking to you, Danny, and you and I sign a contract, but later on might be different people. It might be our lawyers discussing. They'll rake through it and they'll say, yeah, no, Danny was right. That doesn't say I have to require that, and you need that. You need that robustness.
I think if you're the problem I've always had in IT is we're talking $120 an hour. Sort of, they've hired me for 2 hours. I haven't paid me $240. That sort of money I can't afford to run away and get a contract for that particular client every time. But I want a general understanding of my, what do they call it? Your terms of trade or
terms of engagement.
T's and C's. Terms and conditions.
Yeah, and I think, Raymond, we're very trusting in New Zealand, and we just think everybody's gonna, come up with the dough and be nice, but they're not. Yeah.
Always talk money first, I reckon. If they blink, we'll look away, or don't want to discuss it, then walk away.
One thing we're finding now in IT is with all the hacking that's going on, a number of companies that have had people doing their external IT, when they're getting hacked, they're actually suing the IT company because they've been hacked. And that proves how much you need a contract, because usually a company gets hacked because of the incompetence of their staff, clicking on links, etc., not being educated. So
offshore project suspended, Lance. What was that about? So you had some overseas work?
Yeah, basically. So I had the camera operation in Australia. Well, that's completely gone. The Asia Pacific Rally Championship, that's completely gone for this year. So all that income came to nothing.
Yeah, I had that too, Lance. I had a really big gym competition lined up to do the photos for. And I was so excited because I've never done an international competition. They were coming here and they were going to do it next year. And now they're not doing it at all. So...
And I had a case similar but different back in October in the insurance. I took on a new client and all done and dusted, $7.5 grand commission, which was reasonable. Within a month, an aspect of their business went sort of belly up, and they had to contract all of their expenditure out. So mine was terminated. And as I've shared with some other people already, not only do I have to pay that $7,500 back, it's effectively a $15,000 hit, because I've got to pay $7,500 back to get to zero, but I've got to earn another $7,500 to get back to where I was.
Yeah.
So that was pretty tough.
Yeah. The spam phishing, catching a lot of people, that's been massive over this time.
Yeah.
We got a lot in ours. I mean, they were only really little, but they were saying you need to pay your freight or something like that. And it was only something like $3.20, but they were sending people to this other site somewhere. And I know that's still going on, but I think it's sort of morphed into something else.
Yeah, was that a text one?
Yes, it was.
I think it was.
It was both.
Yeah,
actually.
it was both. It was email as well. Yeah, because we got people going, I've paid for this and I'm being asked to pay for it again, and we're like, nah, it's a scam.
And that's the sad thing about it. People actually fall for it, even though we all think we're wise.
I'm working on another theory. I'm actually trying to scam the one fellas in Nigeria, but at this moment I've made nothing.
Wouldn't that be funny if we did that?
Statistically, you're more likely to have you to be scammed and money taken out of your bank than someone break into your house now.
Oh, that's crazy, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, so everyone's pretty up with a play on that, but every now and again, years ago, this was literally 10 years ago. Oh, it was actually, it was 8 years ago to be exact. I had this guy ring me up and he said, Danny, I've been following you for years. You're an absolutely amazing character, and we'd actually like to come over and do a documentary on you and how you run your business. And I went, oh, yeah. Perfect American accent. He raved, and I just let him go for 20 minutes, and I thought, this sounds really legit. And then at the end, he said, we're talking about doing a $300,000 documentary on you. And I go, oh, wow, I'm going to be famous. This guy, my head was getting really big. And then he said, the only thing we asked you to pay is the $17,000 licensing fee. And, oh, you should have heard the language. I could speak fluently. Just wasted 20 minutes. And I said, how do you sleep at night, mate? And, but yeah. But there, I learned that one. So if you want to come on my documentary, let me know.
There seems to be a lot of fraud like that going. I keep getting them offering to put me in the CIO magazine, but it'll cost X dollars. Yeah. It's basically people trying to charge you a advertising fee for something that will never get produced.
Well, there was a directory going around. It was called the Business Directory or something pretty bland in New Zealand. And they were catching a lot of people because they were sending they were faxing, this is way back, faxing $99 bills. And what happens, you see, $99 is normally the figure whereby anybody and accounts can just approve that. And once it's above $100, then it has to go for someone else to be signing. And they'll just get in a directory. Now, the thing is, there was a directory. I mean, it was a rubbish one. No one ever saw it. But because technically you paid $99, they put you in this directory. And they did it like a renewal, as though it was renewal, if it wasn't. So therefore, they were very hard to actually take them to court. But I rang them up, and that was quite an interesting phone call.
I remember that one. Yeah. No, and that was an international crowd, wasn't it? Who had a branch in New Zealand as well, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was a
It's actually happening now, right? Dodgy. Because we got that earlier this year, as well.
Yeah, they don't give up, and they, All right, guys. So good. So we've still got any problems. I want some more problems. You guys aren't much of whingers. What problems have we had? Come on.
Oh, way too much advice from people who really didn't know anything.
I love that. That's really good. Yeah. I appreciate the advice you gave me too, Lachlan.
No, but what I mean is, there was all these people giving tips for working from home. They were working from home for 3 days.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, you'll be working home for 3 days, I can tell.
With our shops, the amount of times the news and all those fair goes are warning people about online shopping and things to do, everyone thinks that everything we do is we're scamming people. So even if we're running a legit business, they still think we're scamming them. As soon as something goes wrong, they go, this is a scam. And we get these emails in capitals. And, so all the hype about, and then there's one guy on the news, I think I talked about him previously, and he used to sell these necklaces that go around people's necks who sit in airplanes. And he had a thriving business, and COVID wiped him out. And he thought, what can I do? So then he started selling shavers, and he claimed to sell 200 shavers a day. And as soon as all my mates in the IT field saw that, we just knew it was full of shit. But it paints a picture for other people who are thinking about getting online businesses that there is the potential out there to have a business that thrives. And and that was where I didn't like those sort of stories. They mislead people, a lot of the information you get.
Yeah. There's also a lot of naivety, in terms of business. And when you look at people, they really hadn't had a business to speak of. And they had this wonderful advice for people about being generous with all your employees. Just keep on paying them and stuff like that. Announcements, I took someone on, they had no experience, or anything like that. And it turns out that they've got no employees. You look at them like, so how can you have, when did you take them on exactly? Because on LinkedIn, you've got one person in your company.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Well, let's go to some solutions. So what some practical stuff that we can do in today's world. And I'm actually, financially, I've probably had a good year this year. In my head, I feel like my business has been jeopardized a lot. So I sort of, has it been bad? Has it been good? It's probably been fear. But I'm looking forward to next year, and I'm not really like one of these New Year resolutions, rah. But I actually do feel like I've got lots more opportunities going forward. But there's no real certainty where we're going. For example, I mean, there's nothing stopping New Zealand going back into a major lockdown if we stuff up. Potentially, we're quite vulnerable, and it's hard to build. I remember they say never build a house on sand; always build it on, a sound foundation. So next year, I'm thinking, what does next year hold for us? What sort of things can we do to make sure that we use what we've learned from this year, and trickle a little bit of that over to going forward? Dave's going to get better.
I think if you make decisions slower.
That bores me straight away, that slow stuff.
Yeah. Oh, look, I tell you what, if everybody wants the quick fix. And I can remember quite a few people saying, hey, we're going into COVID, the environment's going to change. What's the one thing that we are able to do to take advantage of it and make $1 million? Well, there's nothing. If you couldn't work it out in a stable environment, you're not going to work it out in an unstable one. So just relax, take your time, decide slow, and then proceed forward. And everybody who's done, well, not everybody, most people who have done that are better off.
But
I guess you're saying do due diligence, really, aren't you?
My point.
Yeah,
that's what you've got to do. I mean, don't make hasty decisions. Yeah, but I don't think anyone here would make hasty decisions. I mean, we readjust, don't we?
See, in my business, I have to position myself that when a client presents themselves, I have to act. And given I've had, coming out of a period that was pretty quiet, I'm just determined that every bit that comes along, I act as quick as I can, and still maintain that high level of service with them.
Yep.
Would people agree to have a bit of a nest egg, to have something in case you needed cash? Or
well, they recommend that you should have 6 months cash in your savings.
Yeah.
Jesus.
But they say that something like 80% of people live month to month.
Yeah, that's right. And a lot of people just can't save up that type of money, but if you can, it's well worth it. Yeah.
But small little bits every week, just sneaking out every week. That's the way to do it. And most people think I'll start next week.
Yeah, that's right. Danny and I have both got a KiwiSaver, and it's called Generate Wealth.
Yeah.
And we've got the KiwiSaver, but we've both now set up like term investments. They're not really term deposits. It's just like an investment. Yeah. It's called a trust investment or something. Yeah. And you can get it out when you want it, which is what we want, because when you've got money sitting in the bank, let's say, for example, 10K sitting in the bank, and you're getting no interest whatsoever, and then you put that money into a KiwiSaver, a trust account, the returns are quite big. They really, we've had, what do we get? I just put a lump sum in my one, and I made something like over $100 straight away.
It could have been the other way, but at the moment, sorry, mate.
But then again, Helen, and I'm not a registered financial advisor, but I often wonder, in people like your position, yes, you get that, maybe get a little bit of capital and go and buy buy a property. You know, as I'm sitting in my own home here at the moment, it's depreciating in value at $6,500 a month.
Oh.
Why?
Because people want to live in this region. That's what's happening in the marketplace.
I mean, appreciating it, that.
Appreciating
it. Going up. Yeah, okay, cool.
I
thought you meant down.
Jesus, that got me. Yeah, well, I sold my house in the country for $540, and 2 years later they sold it for $750.
Yep.
That was gutting. David, that's not funny. We don't laugh at you.
These things happen, Danny.
They don't, Dave. It's just
yes, they do.
Game.
In terms of solutions, Danny, one thing that I have never done, and I really should do, is just a quarterly meeting with myself with a checklist to go through. And you know what I mean? To go through and think, right, I've got to do this, then that, then this, then that. And I'm a real scatterbrain.
What would you have on it?
And I love checklists because they're the saving grace for so many things I do. You know,
I love
keys or whatever. But checklists, you don't have to think about it too much. That makes it easy. And if it's easy, you'll do it next time.
Hey, one thing we've found quite good this year while we're talking about solutions, I'll show you. We have a piece of glass. Ooh. And basically it's our daily to-do list.
Oh, nice.
My list is the one on the side that I haven't updated for a week.
Yeah.
But actually, when I get in front of the computer,
I
think there's 5 things I want to accomplish today, and I'll just go drop them on the paper. And we put this on the coffee table.
Yeah.
And then we cross it off when we're watching TV, or we look at it and think, yes, I did get something done today.
It's a good idea. The thing about it, see, I've got 3 screens sitting here, but the fact is you can switch them off and on. Whereas when it's written on on the wall, it never goes away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's a good idea. I found that useful.
Yeah, I'm very like that. I like writing things down. Danny.
But I think in terms of the quarterly Warren Fitness thing, it's just have a finances. What have I do? If I've got any investments, do I want to put that? What's going to happen with my cash flow? I mean, most people say do it every week or every month. No, once every quarter is enough for me.
Perfect. And, you've got to do it because a lot of people, including myself, don't do that sort of thing. And then before you know it, you're like, oh, where am I in my business? And you don't really know where you're sitting.
It just because what's likely to happen in the next 3 months? We're coming into winter. Right. Okay, let's have a think about that.
Yeah. Good stuff, guys.
Bench relax is a good one. Bit of meditation.
Few drugs.
Walking. Bit of alcohol.
Yeah. I bought a bottle of bourbon and it was faulty. It lasted 4 days.
No,
this time of year.
No, that was another bottle.
Oh, yeah. He bought some gin and it just disappeared. I don't know what happened to it.
I didn't actually like it, actually. It was that one over in Blackball, and they must sort of put it in smoky barrels or something. But it was meant to be beautiful, but I didn't really get it. Helen liked it.
Yeah. I didn't have much of it, though. Didn't get a look in.
All right. Well, let's. I want to have a wee discussion about what we're doing after for holidays, anyway. So let's just go straight into takeaways for now. So, what did you learn from today? Is there anything that you've come away with and you thought,
Oh, Mark's put another one there.
Mark, that's I like that. Yes. You can't.
It's the solutions. You can't let yourself get stressed. Work on the work-life balance. That's so true. Yeah.
Oh, that's something
we're trying to do that.
Yeah.
We went away again. We just take weekends away when we can, and we stay in really cheap places just to get away, really. And we went to Oamaru again, and then we came into this little town called Duntroon, where they make what was it? They were blacksmiths, and it was fascinating. We went in and they showed us all around, but it's just, Oamaru's not far away, 3 hours. We just try and get away when we can.
Funny story.
Tell it, Duntroon.
Yeah.
Funny story where we got the luxury room with a spa bath that didn't have any bubbles. It didn't have any motor in it.
Oh, okay.
And then we thought, and then they had a blind. We thought we'll put that down. It looked a wee bit broken.
Yeah.
So I stood up on the chair and then put it down, and it come off the whole lot, smashed the wine in the glass everywhere.
Red wine smash onto the floor. I'm going, but it didn't go on the carpet. It went on the tiles. So Danny goes to there's a little room attached to our room, and he goes in there, and it's like a store cupboard, and he gets another wine glass out, replaces the broken one. And no one would have known the difference. And
then when I left, I got the broken glass and put it in the next door people's room with all their empty beer bottles.
But didn't they find the red towel
We used the floor cloth.
Don't try and make another booking there, Danny. There's a good boy.
Tell you what, though, I was really surprised. It was $135 a night, which is probably the upper end that we like to pay. But the room was just outdated, and they just...
It was meant to be the deluxe room. We stayed in this other place that just had and it was like $99. It was brilliant. It was such a cool...
Well, it was a deluxe room because their bottom rate room is the Skyline garage around the back.
Yeah, but it looked like they had their son running it, and had a Skyline parked around the back. No offense to Skyline users, but boy, Racer looking after a hotel. Good stuff, guys. Takeaways, come on. What have you got? What did you learn?
I certainly think the contracts. We sort of mentioned there about contracts, but I think have contracts ready, but learn how to deliver them.
How do you get them done?
How do you get them done? Well, look, to be honest, I mean, recruitment, we have a standard contract that goes out. So I guess it's a bit of a thing. But sometimes, I mean, my wife's a solicitor. She'll say, always go to a solicitor. But even if nothing else, you go to someone else in a similar business and you say, look, can you mind to see what contract you use? They'll say, here, use this one. At least it's better than nothing. But you should get a solicitor at some stage to check through things because you don't want the holes. But I think half the contract thing is also learning how to present it in the right sort of way. And I like, in terms of recruitment, you like to say, okay, we do this and we're going to commit to you. So obviously good fences make good friends. So we'll have a contract. We both sign it. So we know what we're going to do, no ambiguity. And then off we go. And that once you tell them but to do all the work and then suddenly try and shyly put a contract under their nose, then that doesn't tend to work. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and I think, Lachlan, a lot of people can get a little bit freaked out with contracts. They think it's big thing that so people do shy away from them as well.
I'll tell you the other side of it too, mate, is when I had my franchise and I was dissolving it and one of my master franchises was being naughty, I realized the only solution I had was to take them to court. My franchise agreements that I paid a lot of money for theoretically were worth nothing. And then when we redid it, we come up with an agreement between facilitators. And then even when I read through the agreement, the problem I had, it was just so complicated. And I think the agreement, is always important. I think people need agreements and an understanding. And but if it all goes pear-shaped, you've got to be prepared to go to court and spend 10, 15 grand minimum.
Lawyers love ambiguity. It pays their bills.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, if you had a contract that said, this is how we do it, that we do. And if you tighten it up and just spend a bit of time on it, this is what happens if it goes wrong, and you can put some stuff down there, then lawyers will say, that's what it says, let's do it. They don't get, there's 1 hour work as opposed, lawyers are expensive.
Yeah. I was just thinking for you, Raymond, what I use is the New Zealand Institute of Professional Photography. They have resources that I use, say, like for model releases or property releases and things like that, and their contracts that you can sign. You might be able to find some in the film industry, whoever, I don't know, NZ On Air or whoever Film Commission, they might have resources where there's contracts already in there that you can use.
Hey, just Rob there, where did you want that comment to go? That novel?
If you go to university, right, and you study about contracts, there's not a lot of information needs to be in one.
Yeah,
right.
True.
So is that a solution?
It's
that's just your advice.
Yeah. However, if you don't have a lot of detail in there and there gets to be litigation, then the less detail you have, the higher the lawyer's fees.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think half of it is that for the amounts that we are likely to need one, we're hardly ever going to, actually spend extra money in order to get the money. It's just to help you get paid.
Good stuff, guys.
And Raymond, you probably should do something like an upfront payment.
Non-refundable deposit.
Yeah. Something where
pays attention.
Yeah.
The ultimate is obviously when I used to do websites is I used to get paid half up front. If it all went pear-shaped, that covered all my costs. So it was payday once I finished. But now, like I said the other day, I charge my time out at 10 hours a time, and that has actually worked a lot easier for me. Because I sort of figured out how long does it take me to do anything. Normally, I can do most things in 10 hours, so I'll just charge them 10-hour implements.
Yeah. I tell also, Ray, one thing I've found that's useful is to even ask your clients, you say, look, I'm just doing my contract. Can you give me an idea of, you have other contracts. What do they generally ask for? I've had guys who said, oh, well, hang on, I'll cross the name off the top. Here, have a look at that. Have a look at that. And so I find what my competition is sending.
Oh, yeah.
Super sneaky, works really well.
Yeah.
I've actually been handed other people's, after I've got the job, I've been handed other people's contracts for me to have a nose at from the person I'm working for.
Yeah.
And that's really quite handy.
Because you always discover something.
Yeah.
I've got a folder full of my competitors' contracts.
Yeah.
So I think, takeaways, definitely contracts are important. I have struggled for years trying to get agreements. I got myself years ago, I got in the Stuff newspaper because one lady, when she left me, didn't like me. And it's one article I can't get rid of.
Yeah.
And it was all because I did have an agreement with the lady, but she didn't like it. And and then when the guy rang me up from Stuff, raved on about it, I said, look, I'm going to send you my agreement I had with that lady, and you can read it and tell me how she got that wrong. He could have come back and said, oh, she didn't sign it. And I said, but whatever. But, it still can go wrong, but you learn a lot.
Yeah.
But just having a simple agreement can save you from so much grief.
Yeah.
And every time I do a job, I have the same letter of understanding I send everyone, exactly the same. And this is how I work, basically. This is the service I provide. Yeah. Maybe it's now called a term, what do they call it, term of service? Yeah.
But a contract, look, it's relatively simple. You say, this is here. Look, a fraction, less than 1% of the contracts go wrong or whatever, but this is here to protect us both. This so we're going to pay. I'm not going to charge you more than that. If something goes wrong, this is what we do.
Yeah. And my responsibility is, and your responsibility as a client
is, a benefit to both sides. That's fundamental in delivering that contract.
Yeah.
It's also being very careful on picking your battles. I know of 2 very solid contracts that ended up not being worth the paper they were written on because the other party was so well resourced, they could frustrate the contract. They could frustrate the legal process at every turn. And
Facebook was it?
And they dragged it out. Well, one of them is I think they're actually New Zealand's largest building company. Wow. They could just bring lawyers in and drag the thing out that at the end of the day, you just go, oh, I've had enough. And you end up being the victim of your own success. So then you've got to be very careful when it comes to contracts. Your better option is, I like Danny's term of agreement, and just work through it and know where to cut your losses.
How many times have we actually worked for somebody knowing we shouldn't have taken that job on?
Oh, yeah.
Too many. I've got 2. I haven't got enough fingers for that.
Yeah.
And that's where you got to go with your gut instinct. You work with people you like, doesn't it? If you can. And it sounds great cliche, but it really is true. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else we've got from today? Contracts is what I'm hearing. Are you happy with? Sorry.
We'll put that in as a solution.
Yeah. Type that one up. That's great. Are you happy with yourselves this year? You're proud of yourselves?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
No reason not to be.
Yeah. I think we've made it to the end of the year.
All survivors.
Who said that?
Me. All are survivors.
Yeah, that's right.
I think that's our nature as self-employed people. That's seriously what we are in it for. It's not. It's an art being, isn't it? Yeah. Being in this game.
Just going back to the last conversation, has anybody had someone that they know they shouldn't really deal with, and so you've charged them your top price, and then they've gone along and gone, oh, okay, I'll pay that, and you're like, oh no, I still don't want to work with you.
2 weeks ago, yes.
Yeah.
And now you're doing it for the money.
Yeah.
Well, I had to bail them out, but they did pay the bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You think they're not gonna go for my top price, and when they do, it's just like, oh gosh.
I've got a guy that's not using my services anymore, and I set him up on G Suite, and I used to host his website, and now he doesn't want his website, doesn't want his G Suite. Now he wants me to go in there and stop all his billing for his G Suite. So I thought, I'll just go and do it. So I went there to log in, and then it sent his 2-step verification to his phone. So I sent him a message saying, can you send me that code? And 4 hours later, I got the code. And then by that time, I wrote him an email. And then I said, hey, let's do this together. Let's just book some time, $60, and we'll work on this together over a screen and get it done. And I should have done that on day one. But here I would have spent 45 minutes tidying up his I don't want it anymore.
Yeah.
you know, and the guy can afford it. He just doesn't see the value, and he just knows if he, and then he keeps saying to me, oh, we'll catch up. We'll catch up sometime next week. And that's his way of saying we're mates and I should do it free. And you know who I'm talking about, Lockie, don't you?
I do.
It's always the same guy, and that's how they roll, you know.
Yeah,
and I think,
in terms of takeaways, I tell you one thing I do every so often is I like to look at, you know, Bill Gates had a saying which says, you know, we're trying to do something, look at who's done it and who done it well and what can you learn from them. But also, if you look at COVID, who's done well and what can I learn from them? Oh, that's quite a good thing. And just you can dig down and you get some good truths. There's nothing wrong with picking your phone up and saying, hey, I like what you did there. Can I just give a bit of insight?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's really good, actually. Look who's doing well. Look at your competitors and see how, you know, what they've done well. Some businesses have flown really well, but I reckon if I look at them, I see they've been really adaptable and moved really quick.
Yes.
You know, I think that's commendable. And also, I think give praise to businesses, like you just said, really, isn't it? You know, you applaud them for doing well and being dynamic.
But in terms of takeaways, I'm just thinking learning from them and almost making a bit of a note to self. You know, people have pivoted really well into something else. You know, just to find a bit of insight, because when people are doing well, often they're quite happy to share.
Yeah.
Okay, next year, when we do our first Zoom meeting, which will be on around about the 15th of January, I think, or 14th or 15th, whatever day it is, what would we want to kick the year off? We're not doing New Year's resolutions. That sounds so lame.
Okay.
Let's talk about our holidays.
Holidays? General get together. Who's going to be trying to work through the holidays?
Yeah.
A little bit on the business.
We all do.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to, I've got all next week to do something of my own, my new idea, which I can't tell you about yet because I haven't thought of it.
I've got an idea. It's just putting it together.
Yeah.
Yeah. So is it goals?
Well, what's the difference between goals?
What about accountability straight off?
Accountability.
Because that's what everyone talks about on week 2 of the beginning of the year. They talk about their New Year's resolutions, and then we finished up talking about accountability.
Well, what about Lachlan's thing where you do your warrant of fitness for the beginning of the year?
That'd be a good idea. Building a warrant of fitness list.
Yeah.
Okay, a health check.
Yeah.
A health check. But it could be anything. It could be slightly backward looking. It can be current status. It could be future looking. But it's just a checklist where you think, where am I going? I use them for recruitment because when you go to recruitment, you have to think, where do I start? And the first thing is, hey, if someone asks me for somebody, have I done a previous role like that? So it's very similar. They might have people that have made all the notes out and already interviewed them for, you know, go through that first thing.
Yeah. Checklist for the new year. How about instead of new year, let's put checklist 2021.
Okay.
Yeah, like that.
Oh, you can do it.
Oh no, don't take it all out.
Go on.
See you later, guys. I've got to cut out.
Take it
all right.
All
right.
See you later.
Checklist 2020.
See you, Mark.
Checklist for 2021.
Yes.
And we call it
hyphen.
Warrant
of fitness.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I'm just going to take it off Facebook Live and also stop recording. And I will actually make this into a podcast because we had a really good meeting today. I'd just like to say a big thanks for all your support this year, following me around and keeping it all going. Sometimes I had my doubts, but then other days I used to leave these talkbacks and just think, oh my God, it's so awesome to have such an awesome crew of people around us. So I really appreciate that. And I think Helen and I wouldn't have done it without you guys.
Yeah.
Because otherwise we would have just had to sit here in this room.
Talk to each other.
So it's really good. So I'm going to stop the share and I'm going to stop the broadcast. So anyone that's listening to us, thanks for tuning in. And we look forward to seeing you in 2021. Woo!